Hey folks, and welcome back to Let's Play Call of Duty United Defensive, and today we are going to get Doyle out of enemy territory. This is the only mission that shows up in Holland, and it's actually got a lot of thought put into it, which might not be recognizable at first glance. I'm really looking forward to talking about that some more. So, with me as always...
Hey everybody, Last RoboCai here. I'm also looking forward to seeing Holland. I won't be able to tell you anything insightful about it though, because I've never been there, and I don't know if I ever will be.
that is sharply contrasted by...
Hi everyone, I'm Skillness622, and in contrast to Last RoboCai, I lived in Holland for 15 years, and I hope to bring local knowledge to the situation today.
I'm going to just sort of lie back and close my eyes.
As well, you've earned that privilege, buddy. Actually, you haven't done anything, so whatever.
I've just been watching you play video games for the last 100 episodes. Anyway.
Right, 10. But yeah, so as we're seeing in the briefing, we are somewhere in Holland. We actually don't know where. I'm pretty sure that this was a little bit of a cop out so they wouldn't have to do too much research. But whatever. They still do an awfully good job for Doyle being behind enemy lines and all of the other set pieces that go on, with one or two notable exceptions. So without going on about that too much more, let's go ahead and get started.
My favorite place in Holland.
Somewhere. Doesn't really look like anyone in Holland I know.
I remember the first time I played this, I was looking down and it was almost like an out-of-body experience because I expected them to look up at any moment. The proud tradition of German soldiers urinating.
And look how good his aim is. He's not even hitting the tree.
They're squaddies. If it's there, we will take a piss on it.
Achtung! Engländer! Achtung! Der Feind!
At least he was able to pick up his rifle before somebody shot him.
Right, first quibble with this particular episode. A, we're in Holland. How do you know he was an Englishman?
You can come down now. He won't give you any more trouble. Major Ingram, SOE. Our friends from the Dutch resistance saw your plane go down, so we decided to have a look in case Jerry got too curious. Grab a weapon from one of those dead Jerrys and follow us. We have an important train to catch. Once that is sorted, we'll get you home right as rain. Let's go.
Hey, by the way, you guys remember that time that I said Major Ingram never showed up again? I remember that time.
I don't retcons. We'll just go back and
No, I totally said it back when we busted Major Ingram out of the prison camp. I was like, oh, this guy never shows up again. Wait a minute.
Well, technically this is in the past, so from a certain technicality of language you are right.
Easy, lads. Careful.
So yeah, these are Dutch resistance members because Germany sort of rolled right the fuck over Holland during World War II, and as you might imagine, a lot of people weren't too happy about that.
Funnily enough, it was actually, resistance was fairly passive, at least initially. It was one of the sort of bizarre things where that, certainly up until 42, because the Germans were trying to play very much the same in Denmark, where the Germans were trying to play nicely, because obviously the whole brother area nation rubbish. So there tends to be very little sort of overt repression and more sort of political. It's like they instituted a puppet government rather than a full-on military governor and things like that. That then changed. Basically, it started kicking up in 1942, and then things happened where an SS Reichskommissar was appointed rather than the NSB were kicked out, and then sort of resistance then took on more of an overt nature, so things like this.
For those keeping score, this is still 1941, so this would have been a relatively rare pocket of resistance where you have, 5 guys with Lee Enfields who are willing to shoot the crap out of everything.
It would have happened. It was just, it was far more things of this nature, where it was sort of rescuing airmen and forging documents and things, rather than sort of going out and sort of far more people like the romantic knowledge sort of resistance fight, sort of going out and ambushing convoys and things like that, which did happen, but nowhere near as much. But I mean, it's amazing really the amount of the sheer amount, although it wasn't, I say, particularly overt, the sheer amount of people who were involved in the resistance is absolutely mind-boggling.
Yeah, it really is kind of interesting when you start looking at the realities of, resistances and spies and everything like that. They're not, the James Bond sorts or everything. They're local business owners that, have a little bit of extra money and a place for people to sleep at night or something like that. They're, a farmer who got a little bit of extra food with his crop. They're very normal people. They're just like, I believed in this thing, so I went ahead and did it. It's almost inspiring in a way.
Oh, very much so. I mean, my next door neighbour, I had literally no idea. Sort of, as far as I know, he was an old dude who played the piano. And then he passed away a few years before I left Holland. And at his funeral, well, it was a little bit confused because we had the invitation to the funeral and the name was wrong. So we were a little bit confused. Obviously, knew he was the right guy. And as it turned out, the name that we'd always known him by was his nom de guerre, was his resistance name. And he basically kept it. But he was given the decoration, sort of Dutch Order of Merit, and he was he was knighted in that for actions running a, as you said, actually food supply ring. Is in Amsterdam, and literally, I had no idea. I lived next to this guy for 10 years, had literally no idea. He's an old man. I say, you'd see him occasionally in the garden, very pleasant, but literally you have no idea. And the amount of people and things that you see like that are absolutely mind-boggling.
Yeah, that's ridiculously cool.
Well, one of Australia's most famous spies was operating mostly in France during the resistance as well. I believe she was an engineering student who travelled the world doing journalism stuff. In fact, it's kind of crazy because, the French pretty much gave her every single medal they possibly could. I think she had a nickname or something of the White Mouse by the Germans and things like that, because she was just very difficult to get a hold of, and she did all manner of things like riding a bike across France, just a regular little bicycle, to deliver documents and stuff. And yeah, she didn't get really much of anything from the Australian government until, I'm not even sure, very long before she passed away. It's kind of crazy.
Definitely so.
Over here. All right, we're done here. Follow me.
Sorry, can I just say something? As you may not notice then, all the voice acting for the Dutch resistance is actually English.
Yeah, it is.
That annoys me in a very profound way.
It's colossally lazy because there would really only be about 3 or 4 seconds worth of things that they need to do. They just need to have something for, I'm under fire, I'm moving, I'm reloading, and okay, Doyle, I'll move so you can have this spot of cover I'm occupying. It's like 5 to 6 3/4 of a second voice clips that you would need, and they were just like, hell with it. Let's just use the British ones.
Even worse, their idle animations, they go and play cricket.
Now, one of the things that I really like about this mission is that, you're behind enemy lines and everything, so very reasonably, the German security forces back here would probably not be as well armed as the front lines would be, because they're not really supposed to be fighting that much. This is basically one of the only missions in the entire game where you will see a substantial number of Kar 98Ks. A lot of other places, you'll see them mixed in with Gewehr 43s, which makes a ton of sense. This is also another one where you will very rarely see, you won't see any MP44s actually. Everybody uses MP40s, and the MP40s are relatively rare, which makes sense, again, because they were supposed to be on the front lines.
Well, also, primarily as the numbers suggest, that, as you said earlier, this is 1941. Gewehr 43s and MP44s simply didn't exist at this stage. Certainly in a rear area security role.
Also a good point.
just the attention to details of what they get right, and then they do a little thing like this.
Dutch voice actors. That's silly as hell. It really stands out too, particularly if you have to ask a resistance member to move so you can take his cover. I mean, this entire mission is relatively low stress, just because of the bad equipment of the Germans. But it's just like, wow, that totally took me out of the moment.
Quiet, lads. Doyle, get over here. We've got to get through this tunnel. Expect the worst. This has been a picnic up until now.
Waiting for the inevitable cliche. Nope. Okay. No light at the end of the tunnel.
No.
Tunnel's not long enough.
No, you actually get through this tunnel without something horrible happening. I was surprised too.
This is before video game cliches really started taking hold.
Before it made all the video game cliches.
Yeah, exactly. Back in the halcyon days of first-person shooters.
I do like the set piece too, with the little lights and everything. It does feel like the moments when the bullets stop flying, it does feel very, very tranquil. You can hear all the crickets going.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing that I always really loved about this game, and it's another thing that tends to get covered up a little bit more in United Offensive, simply because you don't have too many slow moments. But they do a fantastic job of setting the scene, and particularly in the base campaign, it's just like, wow, yes, there's a lot of shooting and a lot of fighting, but the moments in between, it's positively calm.
Cover me!
Also, hooray! I'm finally using a Lee Enfield.
Go, go, go!
For those keeping track at home, the Lee Enfield is almost functionally identical to the Kar 98K. The biggest difference is that it holds 2 stripper clips instead of 1, so it can hold up to 10 bullets. The way this is kind of clumsily balanced is that you can only reload if you're missing at least 5 bullets. So, you'll see me, like, when I've got 3 bullets left, I hit reload, and I beat in another stripper clip, and it puts me up to 8. If you're totally empty, your soldier will feed in 2 real quick.
Yeah, just these little attention to details they've got on these weapons and everything is very impressive.
I've never used the Lee Enfield myself, so I can't tell you exactly how realistic per se that is.
Yeah, that is. I haven't fired them personally, but I have held them up close, and that is how you would have to reload it. There's no sort of procedure for, certainly on those Lee Enfields, for putting in individual rounds, or you would have to feed the rounds literally individually. You can't just sort of put the rounds into the stripper clip, if that makes sense.
Cool.
Da ist er! Stoppt ihn!
So this area is basically the only area where you stand a huge chance of dying in this stage, just because there are a few people with MP44s, and it's really easy to get surprised. I just spawn memorized that guy to bring him around the corner with a gunshot.
Okay, so this one's a target of opportunity and no mistake.
Vorsicht!
Ooh, there we are.
On a related note,
At least get a bit of covering fire from your mates above you.
yeah, that was Ingram. He's the only one carrying a submachine gun.
Here comes the train! Doyle, hurry up!
Now the train sequence.
Yeah, for what it's worth, for what it's worth, you actually can't miss the train here, but
That's
blessed
just as well.
freaking ladders.
I have to admit, in preparation for doing this, I went over the level and I must have died about 20 times because of that ladder. I was literally tearing my hair out by the end of it.
This is what people don't miss about these games. I mean, you hear people like us getting nostalgic for the halcyon days, and then you climb a ladder, and it's like, oh right, that doesn't happen anymore.
No, it does. Ladders have not gotten much better in video games. You've got two versions. The one that basically just starts you ascending as soon as you go anywhere near it, and the other one you just have to press a button, and then it's like your guy just grips it.
They've gotten worse in different ways, but I cannot remember the last time that I fell off a ladder, fell 50 feet, and pancaked. I mean, let me just put it that way.
Just trying to think myself. No, brain's too fried at the moment. I just
No.
I'm gonna need an explosion just to make myself. Oh, that was.
Fortunately, we've got one in mind.
Since you did all the heavy lifting, I'll let you have the honors. Detonate on my command.
Yeah, you can't actually miss the train with while you're setting the bombs, but you can miss it here if you're a jerk. No, I'm not showing it off, because that explosion is too beautiful to subvert. I love Ingram's evaluation of the situation.
We've made everyone angry. Let's go home. You can see he's like spray painted. Ingram was here all over like the buildings.
Ingram will make another return in the next episode, and you'll get more of his writing, and that's very much him. He's just like, okay, I did the thing, everybody's pissed, and now I'm going away.
He's got the wisdom of experience to know that you don't hang around to like have a bit of a chuckle. See what everyone.
He's also just very practical, and I appreciate that. It's just like, okay, we got the job done. Everybody is pissed off now.
Yeah, we just blew a bridge up. That was very by the numbers, wasn't it? Put things on bridge, press plunger, train explodes. Very good.
They're on our tails. Set an ambush. Down!
I do like the music too. Again, kicking in.
Yeah, particularly with how the Germans are chasing you with their searchlights and everything, it feels very real for that moment. And then they start shooting, and everything goes to hell. And this is one of the most narratively strong episodes of the entirety of United Defensive, and I really love it. I mean, it's not too intense. There's a nice reward with the train explosion and everything. It's just very narratively well done. Very well written.
And it lets you press the button to explode the train. Like, how many games these days would basically just, like, lock you in place and then say, you know, like, now you get to watch the train explode.
Yeah. You know what? I wouldn't have thought of that if you hadn't said something, but you're absolutely freaking correct. A lot of places nowadays would just have the explosion just sort of go off, and you know this game will also do that too. I mean, you don't always get to push the plunger, as it were, but it's a nice little reward.
Even if you did get to push the plunger, they'd make you stand there, like, staring at it the whole time. Like, it goes, like, getting every little bit of detail in, because, you know, some guy worked really hard to make that explosion, and he'll be damned if you just turn around and walk away from it.
Yeah, it is worth noting that I could have totally done a Bayheimer and just turned away, because cool guys don't look at explosions.
That's kind of literal for you, isn't it? It's one of those things, just cross it off the bad joke checklist. So I'm not here for insightful commentary or anything like that. I'm here to say dumb things. There we go.
Here it is, lads. Now.
This is the thing I hated about this part. I mean, the entire idea of clearing out this farmhouse was so it didn't come back to haunt us, and it came back to haunt us anyway, Ingram.
The ghost of all the Germans you've killed.
Well, you did put a rather large hole in the wall.
Well, no, that was actually when the German reinforcements came out of the barn over to my left right now, one of them had a Panzer Schreck, and he shot the damn thing.
That's clever.
So you couldn't use that machine gun emplacement, I assume, and also so you could see out of it and stuff, dudes.
I guess so. I mean, I always figured that it was supposed to be just a jump moment because, you know, you were guaranteed more or less to be up there killing the machine gunners at that point because that was the entire objective that you had to accomplish. So, you know, when they start coming out and the Panzer Schreck goes in, you're just like, oh crap, that crap just exploded.
Bit of a waste of a Panzer Schreck. You think about it, it's just like, yeah, we'll just blow up our own building.
I would agree. You know, I mean, it's just like, you should probably be more sure of your target.
Also, I might well be wrong at this stage, but I'm pretty sure they didn't have them in 1940.
I am not certain either. I will have to double check that, and it will be another thing that I have to make sure is in the posts.
Step on it, Jeeves.
Pretty sure it was like 43 by the time it started to arrive.
And it should have been an infinite box of Panzerfausts, which I'm pretty sure is what just blew up that truck. Ow.
Probably should have done.
Oh, that's a tank.
See, it's like amazing. It's like with Mr. Von der Berg there. It's like, well, they even modelled his orange armband. They didn't give him a voice. It's bizarre.
Yeah, I mean that was something that was like the first piece of history that this game got me to go look up. Is I didn't understand what the armbands were when I first played this when I was, you know, like 21 or something like that. It was a long time ago.
Get us up to that airstrip fast! Not too bad for an RAF. There could be a future in this for you. If you get back to England in one...
I always loved how Ingram says that while he's looking around like he just doesn't care about you at all.
He only turned up.
You were on the way, and he was like, yeah, I could use somebody who knows how to pull a trigger.
By the numbers rescue, basically.
By the numbers, indeed.
Rescue a guy, go off, blow some stuff up.
What? Look, while we're here,
That mission is really one of my favorites in United Offensive, just because of how strong and just how fun it is. I mean, there are a number of engagements that I really, really like for how tough they are and how rewarding it is to get by it. But this one's nice for the exact opposite reason. You get by it and it's just like, oh, that was fun.
Definitely always use more of those in a game. Just little bits to break up the intensity and get the flow of the story. And
a number of designers are really big on that. I mean, like, Valve is very big on that. Anybody who's played Half-Life 2 for more than a couple of minutes will note that, you know, right after a big combat section, there's usually a puzzle section just to cool off and recover from the combat fatigue. And that's, you don't always have to have puzzle sections, but even having just, you know, lower stimulation stuff like this is a really good thing to include. But anyway, next time we will see that Doyle is taking Ingram up on his offer of there being a future in it, because we'll be back with the SAS, and this time they are proper SAS, because they kick all sorts of ass, and I love this next mission, even though it's one of those intense ones that I was talking about. So until then, folks, I've been Cool Guy.
I've been the Lost Robokai.
and I've been Skillness622.
Take good care of yourselves and all those you love, folks.